Coming up after the break, they lost their jobs, but did they also lose their legal rights? When administrators took over Nortel telecommunications earlier this year, hundreds of people were suddenly dismissed. But did they fail to give proper consultation? Welcome back. Now, it is not going to be an easy Christmas for those at the hard end of the recession who've lost their jobs. And a growing number say their employers are cutting corners in the way they handle those job cuts by failing to consult them before making large numbers of redundancies as required by law. Channel 4 News has learnt that over the last year there's been a 150% increase in the number of complaints to employment tribunals claiming failure to consult. We've spoken to former employees at the Nortel communications company who were made redundant earlier this year. They claim the joint administrators from Ernst Young ignored the law on consultation, although the administrators insist they acted lawfully. Here's our business reporter, John Sparks.
High-tech and hyper-connective, the digital superhighway, built and designed in part by British scientists, engineers and support staff.
I'm Tim Rossiter. I've worked here about 34 years in a variety of roles.
They worked for a company called Nortel. However, this year, hundreds of staff members were suddenly told to leave.
Just can't seem to get past this at all. I can't believe how this company has treated us.
Ex-employees say there was no discussion, no consultation, and it's common practice amongst employers UK-wide, say critics.
They don't consult, they bypass their legal obligations, they trample all over the rights of British workers.
In the worst recession in a generation, employees depend on employment law to protect them. Yet people have told Channel 4 News they feel the law is being ignored by companies and administrators.
Business made simple.
Nortel was a high-tech giant with headquarters in Canada and tens of thousands of employees around the world, including 2,000 in the UK. Yet the company got itself into financial difficulties and went into administration in January. Joint administrators from the firm Ernst Young were called in to rescue the business. Still, employees weren't particularly worried. The company continued to trade as normal, and there was still money to pay bonuses. Nortel's chief executive, Mike Zawarowski, here with the red tie, approved $45 million in bonuses for senior executives and key personnel worldwide in order to boost flagging morale. The money was paid out on March 22nd. However, 8 days later, on March 30th, more than 200 employees based in Belfast and also here in Maidenhead were asked to attend meetings. Once seated, they were told they'd been made redundant with immediate effect, losing 3 months' salary they'd expected to receive for the legal consultation period, as well as their notice and redundancy pay.
We've been passed an audio tape of the Maidenhead meeting, and you can hear a number of employees speaking up, claiming they'd been denied their legal right to a consultation period. And they thought Ernst Young's senior representative at that meeting agreed with them.
Are you admitting that you're breaking UK employment law by not following the consultation process?
Yeah, we know we have to follow the consultation process.
Are you breaking the law? Yes or no?
Yes.
A few minutes later, the following exchange took place. Ex-employees told us they were angry. They'd lost a substantial amount of money and were left with the impression that the law had been broken.
Well, it did surprise me. I mean, I would have thought somebody as big as Ernst Young would know how to do the thing properly.
I was very shocked. I didn't think you could do that. I thought the law protected you, but apparently the law doesn't protect us.
In response, Ernst Young told us that neither it nor the joint administrators acted illegally. They acted in accordance with their duties in a way that is entirely usual when a company is in administration. They say the audio recording has been used selectively and is out of context, adding the meeting was very hostile and their representative was talked over and prevented from providing a full explanation. So what's the law on consultation? Well, the rules are well established. The employer is required to consult with employee representatives to avoid, reduce and mitigate the impact of redundancies. When more than 100 workers are involved, the consultation should last at least 90 days. However, administrators from Ernst Young say they didn't have time to follow these requirements at Nortel because the company was facing serious financial difficulties, despite the bonuses paid to senior Nortel employees. In a statement they said, "No consultation took place as it was not reasonably practicable to do so. Employment legislation recognises that there are situations in which swift action needs to be taken."
Employers can claim an exemption from consulting with their employees in situations that are sudden and unexpected. Yet former Nortel workers say there was nothing sudden, nothing unexpected about the computer company's difficulties.
In fact, they argued there was plenty of time to consult with them. Nortel announced its plan to make thousands of workers redundant worldwide in February, more than 4 weeks before employees were gathered for meetings in Maidenhead and Belfast and told they'd lost their jobs. This issue will soon come before an employment tribunal, with employees claiming full pay for the consultation period, as well as their full notice and redundancy pay. Lawyers representing them argue the administrator has been ignoring its responsibilities.
I don't think that they wanted to become involved in any consultation obligation and probably saw that as a potentially diversion from what they were trying to achieve.
Which was?
To streamline the company as speedily and cheaply as they could do.
This matter affects workers nationwide. More than 4,000 former workers at Woolworths have taken cases to employment tribunals, claiming the administrator failed to consult with them, and more than 1,000 at Dairy Farmers of Britain have done the same. In fact, Channel 4 News has learnt that the number of complaints on failure to consult received by tribunals has shot up from nearly 4,500 in 2007-08 to well over 11,000 this year. Back at Nortel, ex-employees from its Maidenhead and Belfast facilities complained to their local MPs, and a meeting was arranged between them and the joint administrators at the beginning of June. Ernst Young made it clear to MPs, however, that they wouldn't change their approach to consultation.
What was of most concern from our discussions with Ernst Young was a clear indication that they would be very happy to use this same strategy in the future, and that they showed no remorse about having used this approach. And I feel the employees have been treated extremely badly.
The Northern Ireland Finance Minister asked for a guarantee that Ernst Young would consult on any further redundancies at Nortel.
I made the point to them that, well, at least now you have got some notice, you've got some ability to forward plan on all of this. I take it you wouldn't behave the same way in the future as you did in the past.
What did they say?
And the answer was, yes, we would.
And 3 weeks later, the MP's worst fears were realised. The administrators laid off an additional 110 Nortel employees from the company's Harlow research facility, and there wasn't any consultation.
Whilst there is a sharp difference of opinion on when or whether to consult, there is a chorus of discontent growing in strength, led by politicians, union leaders and disgruntled employees.
And we've learnt that the Business Minister, Ian Lucas, has just sent a firmly worded warning to all administrators. He points out that there is a continuing concern that they're not meeting their legal obligations. "My officials will be monitoring you," he writes. However, union leaders say government warnings are not enough. Administrators need to know they'll be penalised if they don't consult with workers.
The fact that they know they've got a legal obligation to consult with the workforce, they choose not to do it because there is no penalty not to do so. And until there is a penalty, it is only that, in my judgment, that will change the behaviour of the administrators.
The trade body representing administrators says every effort is made to consult while fulfilling their other legal responsibilities.
We mustn't forget that an administrator has a duty to try to recover as much for creditors generally, and that the main objective is to try to rescue the business or the company. And in that process, one would hope that as many jobs get saved as is possible.
Hundreds of former Nortel employees have taken cases to the Employment Tribunal. Yet if they win compensation for the loss of their consultation period, they'll go to the back of the queue with all the other unsecured or least protected creditors. Former employees told us they expected more from a company they dedicated their working lives to.